This free agent news has major implications for the Padres. Jurickson Profar, Padres fan favorite, is moving on to the Braves. We've got all the information and fallout from that. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen, back with another episode of Padres Digest. I want to remind you guys, as always, that if you need more Padres, I promise there will be good news eventually. Right now, I am just the harbinger of bad news, it seems, ever since this offseason has started. Things have been going bad for the Padres, and they go from bad to worse now with the signing of Jurickson Profar by the Braves. Total contract is 3 years, $42 million. So higher than you'd want to pay maybe for a 32-year-old, lower than you'd expect a max contract guy to be looking for. At this point, I don't even know if I care about the actual X's and O's of the contract, short of if the Braves gave him like 3 years, $6 million, and it's like, oh, the Padres could have done that, or if the Braves gave him 3 years, $300 million, and the Padres couldn't have done that. I sort of think that anything in between, this $8, $10, $12 million feels like a huge red flag. Here are the numbers for Profar last season, and all-star season, gotta love him for it. He's 31, going into 32 years old when the season starts this year. So, not necessarily like an up-and-coming star, but I think we're seeing baseball is a sport now that people can play at a high enough level to be serviceable major leagues, if not quality Major League Baseball players, now into their mid-30s. And someone like Profar, where you're not worried about his arm blowing. He doesn't, he's not a pitcher. He's not a catcher. He's not a shortstop. There's not enough strain on that arm to be like, oh, Tommy John is going to derail this or anything like that. He can jet set into the sunset, hitting from 280 to 275 to 270 to 260. Like, he can be a serviceable quality batting seventh or second or moving the lineup along type of major leaguer still for 3, 5, maybe 6 or 7 more years, closing in on 40, because he's a known chemistry guy. So not saying that the Padres should have shilled out $10 million for that long, but when you see that he lands on a 3-year contract that, yes, is an expensive contract in a vacuum, but is not an expensive contract in an offseason where the Padres have not splashed at all. The 2 international signings that they have done have totaled about $3 million. Allegedly, we were in on Sasaki for more than that. Allegedly, we were in on Soto and Snell and a lot of these other guys for more than that too. So to then see that they let Profar go and the Padres lose an all-star. They lose a guy who makes plays out in the field. Like, okay, he's not a plus defender, but he's a very good defender. He's a very versatile player, left field, third base, second base. I'm sure that if you asked him to pitch and catch, he would do it with a smile on his face. He is a decent hitter. He hits anywhere in the lineup. He is ultimately just the ultimate grease guy and has proven in his time with the Padres, which has been, with the Padres, not with the Padres, he's come and gone. Padres have been better with him here as opposed to with him out, because he just seems to fit the vibes very well. So to see that for 3 years of what you would hope the Padres could designate to be affordable money, given that they didn't spend it on other guys that they were linked to spending it on, is like a red flag, the size of which, if I was waving it now, I would knock all of my setup here over and I would just go running down the street like a madman, because this to me signals that the Padres, this is a bad sign. And I'm sure that there are some of you out there who will be like, oh no, this is the Padres not overpaying for somebody in 2 or 3 years. And you could be right that a 34-year-old Jurickson Profar might have a fall off, and hitting 200, making $15 million, going to be a drag on the team. But it's the give and take constantly of these contracts of, are you playing for now or are you thinking about then? And you can't always be thinking about the then when the here and now is, we got to be good enough to beat the Dodgers or the Phillies or one of the many other National League teams that are loading up in this offseason. Because you can say what you want about the AL being weaker than the NL right now. for the Padres to get to that situation in the World Series where they beat up on an easier AL team, you have to run the gauntlet in this postseason. Now, I don't think that losing out on Profar is going to be losing out on, you can see here, it's not that he's 60 home runs and 100 stolen bases a season. He's not the end-all, be-all of Major League Baseball success, but in an offseason where it is looking now ever more and more like the Padres are going to have to turn to minor league talent. And I say minor league talent only in the sense that they are still in the minor leagues, and the Padres have some decent relievers. They have some guy or some talent that's ranked up in the top 50 in Major League Baseball. They have some guys who I'm sure can provide that serviceable role. But what's the external message you're sending as an ownership front office group where really the only guy that gets a contract this offseason is your manager? Great manager. Love Mike Shildt. I think that he's the best that we've had of all of our recent managers. But if he's the only one that you can find the money and time to lock down, that to me seems like there is shaky ground and footing upon which this season is going to be built. I may be wrong. This may be the Padres looking into the crystal ball going forward, saying, like I said, we're going to save money so that when the season does hit and somebody in, maybe not saying that the Pirates are going to dish Paul Skeens ASAP, but if there is somebody like that where there is a team down at the bottom third, because I still do believe the Padres will be very good this season. We are debating very first world problems right now with their difference between being good and being elite. The problem is they need to be elite, though, to get past the really good Dodgers, the really good Phillies, the Mets are going to be fantastic this season. I think that you can argue that the Diamondbacks and the Giants are also going to be really improved this year over last year. So, looking at all that, maybe the Padres are playing the long game, saying we want to have $15 to $20 million of available contract later this season so that when we want to dish all those prospects and get Paul Skeens or get somebody out there who is X, Y, or Z, disgruntled, ready to move superstar on a team that is out of the playoff race, they want to have that option available for them. Maybe that's the reality. It's hard, though, to sit here with nothing but L's handed to us all offseason and pray for a hypothetical. So right now, the update is that the Padres have lost Jurickson Profar, and I give you permission to move from a 0 on the panic scale to a 0.5 on the panic scale. We're not gonna get you above a 1 before the P's and C's even report, because we got to see what this team still looks like. We got to see what all of this looks like. Dodgers might implode, arms might explode, things might happen. Tatis might hit 400 this year. Hope springs eternal when spring training starts. So that's why I'm just notching it up. But we are going officially on the panic scale from a 0 to a 0.5 because Jurickson Profar is somebody that I really think was an absolute glue guy for the squad. But let me know what you think in the comments section. Was Profar good to have, good to let go, overpriced, underpriced? Do you think the Padres are just playing the long game and have some other great move out there to make? Drop a comment, drop a follow so that we can give you all the updates for when good things start happening here on Padres Digest. Until then, we will talk to you guys next time.